Try to complete it within, like 10 minutes and 15 minutes. And 5 minutes, we can have a question answer for the jury team.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. And it's PowerPoint show mode, right? Not notes mode. Just want to make sure everybody can see it. All right. So, I'll go through the PowerPoint deck that we've put together relatively quickly, right? So, more focus is, as everybody's kind of gone through, a lot of our discussions yesterday was, related to what is our new norm, right? How do we go through, what are the things that we are changing as an organization? How are we impacting our people supply chain, right? So some of the questions that I've asked myself, right, as we're kind of going through as an organization, how do we need to adapt, right? What is the new norm of the people supply chain? Right? That's how I kind of look at agent lifecycle management, right? What do we need to do? How do we need to recruit, right? What is our new talent pool? Right? Because in the new norm, there's a new demographic, there's new talent pool available, right? So we need to kind of take that into consideration, kind of the pre-COVID to post-COVID. What was your employee mix from part-time to full-time, right? What is the new work-at-home mix that you have in place? Now, based on the new needs, right, what are the things that the employees are requiring? Because the ability to have a job market, right, as things normalize, it will become a little bit more competitive. Right now, as we're going through, a lot of the organizations are going through challenges with the volumes, challenges with staffing, right? They will have its ups and downs, but over time, it will normalize. So, one of the things, that will be there is need for a unified setup, right? One-stop shop for the employees, right? From unified desktop. Again, it's not anything new. It just takes it to another level, right? How do we bridge our kind of a traditional service center to what is the new norm that we have been kind of put into, right, by force? And, a lot of the organizations had a track record of moving through some level of transformation, maybe digital, maybe automation, maybe RPA, right? A lot of that has gotten accelerated now. So, one of the big things that we did was, first, and one of the guidelines that I provide to a lot of the team members and as well as my fellow colleagues from other companies when we interact is, take a pause, right? As an organization, as a functional owner, it is imperative that we take a pause to kind of gauge where you are, right? Which choice is the best way forward? You don't want to end up just because there is a marketing value of doing everything digital, marketing value of the gig economy, right? You don't want to blindly follow a route where it lands you into a bucket that you can get out of, or you're going to end up investing a lot of money into, right? And without much ROI, just because you didn't take a pause to kind of evaluate where your ecosystem was within your respective organization, right? Ultimately, the digital transformations that were being looked at, that, hey, we will look at this as a transformation thing in a year, or we have a little bit of time, right? A lot of that has accelerated radically over time, right? And even within Sutherland, we are no different. Within WFM function that I support, we have gone through a lot of those questions, right? What is the best way forward, right? A lot of our transformation practices that have been ongoing as a continuous improvement initiatives, or even looking at what do we do differently, right? Our processes and cadence that we are doing is not changing. I think the big things that we are changing is our stakeholder base that's not used to the new norm, right? In India, there was no new norm of working at home as much, right? a lot of our geos in the Philippines, in South America, right, working at home was not a norm that was available, right? But nonetheless, everybody's in it, everybody's working it. How we got there, all the organizations have gone there one way or another, right? Whatever bandages they had to put together, whatever radical shifts that they had to put together, right? I call it kind of a wartime momentum, right? You do what you have to do to make things work. And I think that's what a lot of the organizations have done, right? My hope is that more of them have done it actually with a thought process behind it to action those instead of just doing it just to make the ends meet, right? And sometimes that's okay as well. For workforce management, right? This is our kind of ecosystem of how we operate in our processes as a workflow, as well as the components we account for, right? So I've not gotten too much detailed into it with specifics, but we do account for multimedia channels. We do account for various variations of client engagement choices, right? So now everybody has ability to connect through, as they please through mobile devices, through mobile means, which over time will continue to reduce, right? As a workforce function, we go through the modeling, the RFP, RFI. We have our own forecasting practice. We have off-the-shelf tools that we utilize, right? So NICE is one of our partners, right? So we also have Genesis as one of our partners. So along with some of our clients having their own set of tools, right, and working their tools. So all those mixture is there, along with our internal toolkit, planning and demand generation. How does the supply chain work? Right, the supply chain is not only it's not a kind of a very black or white view anymore, right? It's more dimensional in a sense that if you have multiple clients, right, where we have over 100 some odd clients, how do you move around the staffing as the volumes are adjusting by different types of clients that you might have in retail versus you might have in travel versus you might have in technology verticals, where you might have in finance verticals, so forth and so on, right? So all of those variations kind of taking in consideration throughout your ecosystem globally, how do you optimally use the supply chain to make sure that you meet the demand generation as much as possible, both from demand side as well as from a supply side, right? Now, another thing that is changing is also your seat planning, right? A lot of the facility management has started to change. If you have not seen it, it's going to come through, right? A lot of that is going to change as part of the new norm, right? As the companies realize that, hey, if the work at home is working, what do I do with my physical facilities, right? That I can't populate for either geo-regulation, social distancing regulations, et cetera, right? And then it goes into how do I schedule my teammates properly? How are they dynamically scheduled, right? To account for empowerment for agents, right? The frontline staff, right? How do we give them empowerment while they're working from home, right? There are different types of norms that you have to consider depending on the geography. Right? In India, majority of the team members are looking at staying in a joint family, right? They're not working out of apartment that they run on their own, right? So how does that work differently in a work at home setup, right? So a lot of those things you have to consider, and how do you do scheduling against it, balancing the client requirement. Now that has to be looked at a little bit differently. And in Sutherland, we are doing that differently, right? Real-time management, right? Your queue management, KPI, all of your traditional metrics still stay in play, but there are some more that you kind of have to consider, right? In the back office integration, how do you have, if you have speech analytics integrated, if you have a DPA integrated within your WFM tool that gives you productivity levels, right? Across all these channels, they're more prevalent now. right? And how do you use that reporting that comes out of those, right? And circle everything back into your forecasting analytics, right, to drive near real-time impacts in your business. One of the ways I look at as a point of validation is, uh, what we get to do for our clients, right? One of the validations is that a lot of our clients pay us for WFM services, so we provide WFM services as a solution, right? As an offering from our WFM function, that provides any combination of things that you guys see on the street, right? So we support a lot of different types of delivery model. We support omnichannel setup. We support new product launches or lift and shift, or any variations of experiences that clients are going through, and how do we get them in a better state, more optimized state that gives them benefits from a improved productivity, improved SLAs, whatever the pain points are. How do we help solve for those, right? That's what we look for. What are the pain points? What are the problem areas? And how do we solve for them? One of the critical things is our forecasting practice that comes into play. And again, another point of validation, the way I look at it, we have 25% of our clients we do forecasting for, and in a lot of cases, they pay us to do forecasting for them, right? And we do forecasting at intraday, daily, weekly, monthly level, right? We do that internally in our own ecosystem globally anyway, but some of our clients enjoyed our forecasting practice because as part of our cadence, what we do is we do checks and balances, right? A lot of times your clients will be giving you forecasts on a 30-day lock or 60-day lock, another 30 to 90 days rolling, right? A lot of those things we're able to kind of do. Hey, this is what your forecast was. This is how our forecast was. If we have trended our forecast better over 2 month or 3 month period, that allows us to sit at the table to kind of have discussions with the client that says, hey, this is how we are doing forecasting. Let's collaborate to see if we can help you, or at least we could get to better understand what are the impact factors that are coming into play that's impacting our volumes, right? And how do we handle them? Ultimately feeding into the people supply chain, right? And how do we manage the life cycle, even down to an intraday level, where a lot of the clients, the more robust clients, are moving into line adherence type of setup where the forecasting and manpower planning will come in as a very, very critical item. So a very high level, I went through it relatively quickly. I wanted to leave it open more for questions. So this is my last slide. Any questions or comments or feedback? I'm open for it.
Yeah,
Jay,
yeah.
This is a very well thought through business management process that's been set up. We've had examples of this with other companies running it at times. Convergys had a great example. It's a beautiful, operational architecture setup that you have, which feeds in and feeds out. Just to support your cause, I want to get three things. Is there a annual budgeted revenue benefit that you give to the business doing all this? What are the three things that we should really look at saying, this is wow? What is the wow factor we're looking at here?
So I think the simple answer is my goal for what my team and I look to accomplish is make our WFM's cost neutral to the organization as a value benefit, right? So whatever our budget is, we at least look to provide 1x of that, if not more, as a value benefit that we can validate through financial controls, right? So which is the process we do right now. We'll go through on a monthly basis as a cadence through our value benefit tracking, and we interconnect with our business finance teams. Say, hey, this is how we are calculating our value benefit. This is what we are giving back to the business. Can you verify that this has been accrued, right? And it's accrued in form of a margin. It's accrued in form of a cost reduction, right? And once they approve, we kind of tally that. And what we will do is we will have internal calculations. So we'll say, hey, we have put in for $1 million worth of value benefit, and the finance teams kind of come back and say, well, we only see about 600,000 of it. Then we'll book in 600,000, and we'll do a CI on what did we miss for the remaining 400, and how do we improve that as a practice on an ongoing basis.
Got it. I mean, so it's a great practice. It's a well thought through with checks and balances. No question, sir. Leave it at that. Thanks.
Yes. So Jay, this is Milind. I think this integrated ecosystem that you talked about, process ecosystem, is it already functional? Is it already operational?
Yeah, we've been using this for about a year and a half. So probably maybe more like 2 years, right? But we have gone through a continuous revisions of it. So what I presented right now is our current iteration. And again, we are still going through some changes that we want to accomplish as a post-COVID impact, right? So there are still missing pieces that we are working through that we want to kind of improve, and that is to, without going into too much detail, right? It's more correlated to how do we integrate within everything else's technology ecosystem that is supporting our frontline staff at home, right? And how does that intelligence kind of go in a little bit more hands-on, right? So something like what NICE has talked through with the employee engagement manager, right? So how do we better utilize employee engagement manager that gives more empowerment, right? To potentially test out the gig economy setup where you can truly do a dynamic scheduling where you can push a client requirement. If you have a dynamic requirement or cross-pollination you can do with the same employees and to better utilize them, how do we push that out where the frontline staff have more empowerment or more control over how they want to work with us, so they stay more engaged and don't end up being an attrition as things normalize where they have better choices to work with other competitors.
So can you articulate any, do you have any articulation of impact that created on business from the time you started doing this as in the structure of ecosystem?
So, I can, when I had joined the organization about now almost 3 years back, we have gone through roughly about 30% headcount reduction and have improved our coverage by about 20%, right? So with a lesser headcount, we are covering more, so it's costing company less. With the value benefit tracking that we are doing, we are able to validate the value of the WFM function. And on top of that, I think a couple of the biggest things that the leadership team likes looking at is it's a revenue generating function or migrating towards revenue generating function, even more so than what we were doing last year, right? So when the clients are paying us for forecasting practice that validates that what we are doing, we have some skill set into, right? When the client is providing the commands that are set up for their enterprise, it's a validation of what we're doing as a practice that's sellable.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah,
thank you, Jay.
Thank you. If there are any questions, definitely, I'll pass on to you, probably, and get them connected for more details. Yeah. Thanks.